Running Back Nation, what is good? It is your boy DJ Eastwood, Running Back Philly, no frauds, no fanboys, no intros. Wow. Haven't done one of these for a while. I've been chilling, I feel like, since the holiday week. Hope y'all had a great holiday week. But we're going to talk about a couple of things, man. We're going to talk about Sixers injury report going towards the 10 p.m. game tonight in Portland. Hopefully you guys stay up and join me for that live right here on YouTube. We're going to talk about, am I too negative when it comes to Paul George's offensive bottom of the barrel numbers currently? And how impactful is he defensively, and do they outweigh each other? Paul George did put out a new podcast episode after 4 games of just terrible offensive performances. He is celebrating the fact that he is became top 10 in all-time three-pointers. How do we feel about the ego stroking while stinking it up on the offensive side of the floor? We're going to talk about that too. And we're going to talk about Lonnie Walker, and should the 76ers sign him out of the EuroLeague, coming up right now. But first, this is brought to you by RunItBackPhillyShop.com, where you can get all of the Maxey McCain 25 t-shirts, all of the Sickos hoodies, trucker hats, etc. 20% off code SICKOS20. Thank you for the support, and give me 1,000 likes on this video. Let's get down to business. All right. Oh, that's not what I want. This is what I want. Well, let me get it up on the screen here. Producer, you're fired. All right, check it out, man. Sixers injury report heading into game against Portland tonight at 10 p.m. Shout out to Derek Bodner. Joel Embiid, left foot sprain, right sinus fracture. So still recovering from the sinus fracture. He'll still be wearing the mask. Left foot sprain happened 2 games ago. It's just what we live with now. Joel Embiid gets hurt every single time he plays basketball. The question is, will he survive? Will he be alive by the time the playoffs start? We will see. Andre Drummond is upgraded to questionable with a left toe sprain. And Eric Gordon upgraded to questionable. I don't think we want that to happen. The Aaron Gordon upgraded to questionable, but it is what it is. If he's available, Nick Nurse is going to play him. KJ Martin with a foot reaction, I forget what it was called, still listed as out. I'm kind of starting to have a conspiracy theory here that the Sixers are trading KJ Martin and they're holding him out until that trade gets done. It wouldn't shock me. Let me know what you think about that. Do you think KJ Martin's actually hurt? Left foot reaction, something or other? Or do you think the 76ers are going to trade him? Jared McCain is out. I don't know why they keep updating us about that, because he announced on his YouTube channel that he's out for the season with the MCL surgery, but maybe they feel like he could be back by the time the playoffs start. That would be interesting. And Justin Edwards is out. I don't know why he's on the list, because Nick Nurse has not played him a single minute of meaningful game time this season. So there's the injury report, man. Give me your thoughts on all of that. Now, our boy Paul George, after posting in the last 4 games, 11.8 points per game, 16 for 55 from the field for a whopping 29%, and 4 for 25 from 3 for a whopping 16%, decided, you know what? It's time to put out a podcast episode. And he puts out a podcast episode, and it was titled Paul George Joins Elite Company. And they are talking about Paul George reaching top 10 on the all-time three-pointers list in the NBA. I guess let's listen to the clip, and then I want to talk about, am I too negative when it comes to Paul George right now for the Sixers? Let's hear this.
You are now top 10 all time in NBA history when it comes to three-pointers made.
It's full circle.
It just cracks me up that you can be that bad for 4 straight games and then have a celebration the next day. But it is what it is. We are in an era of ego stroking over winning championships.
It's full circle moment. Obviously, I look at everything holistic, from me wearing the number 8, from Kobe Bryant living in Philadelphia, him being drafted.
Are we really going there? Are we really go? Okay.
To Charlotte, me eclipsing top 10 in Charlotte. I think I'm close to 9. Hopefully I can keep on climbing that list.
Where would you rank this among your, personal accolades?
Top 3 of the accolades that I've been able to achieve. That's a high number. You got to play for a long time. It's got to have some longevity to it.
I don't know, man. Like, look, I don't want to downplay it. Being on the top 10 list of three-pointers made in NBA history is something that not a lot of people in existence in the history of the world get to do, right? So congratulations. But the NBA in the last 10 years has been chucking way more threes than anybody in history. So really it's a list of the last 10 years. Like, I just don't think it's that I don't think it's that cool, really, to be honest with you.
To be able to get into that list. I don't know how long I'll stay in that top 10 with how the game's being played now and how many three-point shots are going up.
Well, shooting 15%, you're not going to stay there for very long.
All NBA coming from where I come from and my starting.
All right, I don't care to hear the rest of that. Babe, wake up. New Podcast P episode, said nobody ever. But I do want to say this, man. The Sixers' defensive rating with Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey all on the court this season is a 104. And it's a very small sample size, but it is a night and day difference from what they looked like in the beginning of the season. Let's compare that with some of the best defenses in the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder, 103 this season so far. The Sixers, big three in a small sample size, 104. The Houston Rockets, who are, second in the NBA in defensive rating behind the Thunder with a 105.9 and just had a scrap last night where Amen Thompson chucked Tyler Hero onto the floor like a rag doll, which is awesome. I love the Houston Rockets. I love their mentality, and I love the fact that they're ready to throw down. I think more NBA teams need to start playing like this. Let's take it back to the 90s. You know what I'm saying? It's fun for the league. I don't care. Do what Joe Mazzulla said. Let them fight for 2 minutes. But anyway, it's a small sample size, but it is definitely a night and day difference from what they were doing in the beginning of the season. And yes, Paul George has a ton to do with that. So me personally, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to accept the fact that Paul George offensively is struggling right now. I'm going to accept the fact that Paul George is washed as far as athleticism and leaping ability, and when he gets in the paint, he can't get off the floor anymore. I think he probably should just stop entering the paint at all. That's the problem with the shooting numbers, is that when his shooting numbers are that low, he loses his confidence shooting the ball, and then he wants to attack the rim, but he can't attack the rim anymore because he can't jump anymore. So the shooting numbers for Paul George are going to come back up. I need to accept that. I can't keep ranting about the fact that he physically looks like a shell of himself. It is what it is. He's 34. Do I wish we weren't paying him for 4 years? Yes. But I think the numbers are going to come back up shooting the ball. As long as we continue to run the game through Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George is quite clearly the number 3 option. And his defense has been insanely impactful. Is it a $50 million Alex Caruso? I guess so. Sure. Whatever. But he had 5 steals in the last game, and he is a large reason the Sixers are succeeding lately because of his defensive impact and Caleb Martin stepping up and Kelly Oubre and multiple wing defenders on the Philadelphia 76ers. I feel like we haven't seen this since the 2000s, 2001. So I'm going to try to appreciate Paul George a little bit more for his defensive impact and just hope that the numbers offensively come around shooting the ball. And I'm just going to accept, the era that we're in where NBA players celebrate themselves on their own podcasts, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's really not many of them. It's Paul George and Draymond Green. So maybe they're just 2 delusional psychopaths who need to be humbled, but it is what it is. It's not going to change. There's no point in me crying over it. Paul George's defense is helping the Sixers greatly, and let's just watch it as we move forward. $50 million Tobias Harris, who can actually play perimeter defense. I guess that's what we signed. I guess that's who we signed. Give me your thoughts on all of that. And let's move on to the last part of this video, which is the Sixers are among potential suitors for former NBA guard Lonnie Walker, as his EuroLeague contract with Zalgiris can be bought out by any team before February 18th. So we're not talking about trading assets. We're not talking about some kind of big time move. We're talking about literally just a buyout and a signing an NBA minimum for Lonnie Walker. Now, do I think Lonnie Walker is insanely overrated by young NBA fans on the internet? Yes. And Sixers fans, yes. And they act like Lonnie Walker is a Karis LeVert or somebody else that's a high level combo guard off the bench. And I mean, he's not even in the NBA right now. The last time he played was for Boston for a little while. I feel like in the preseason. I don't even know if he made the regular season roster. That's probably why he's in the EuroLeague. The last time he really played was for the Nets 2 years ago. So yeah, Lonnie Walker is insanely overrated by NBA fans and Sixers fans mainly, but it's because he's a literal combo guard who can create a shot off the bench, and the 76ers just desperately need that with the injury to Jared McCain. So my answer on this Lonnie Walker thing is sure, if he's bought out and you get him for a minimum deal or whatever salary cap tricks you got to pull to sign him to a minimum contract, absolutely go ahead and do that, because the 76ers right now, I said this on the live show last time we were watching a game, who's the shooting guard on this team? Who would you say is a traditional shooting guard on this 76ers team? And this is why when Eric Gordon is healthy, he gets so many minutes, because there's no shooting guard on this team. With Maxey playing point guard because there's no point guard on this team. You know, Eric Gordon's coming off the bench as the shooting guard, or the last couple of games, it's been Reggie Jackson coming off the bench as the shooting guard. So the 76ers are desperate for a shooting guard who can create a shot and give you something off of the bench. So my answer to that is yes, sign Lonnie Walker. And while you're at it, fucking release Eric Gordon for the love of the basketball gods. He's cooked. He's done. He can't play anymore. Lonnie Walker, is averaging what in the EuroLeague, basically what he averaged over his career in the NBA, about 10 points per game, 42% from these are almost identical numbers, 42% from the field, 36% from three in his NBA career, 38.5% from three in the EuroLeague so far this season. And not a guy that's going to stand out defensively. You got to surround him with some defenders. He's been known as a guy with physical tools, but not really high basketball IQ on the defensive end. The Sixers end up with a lot of these kind of guys, or they end up with guys who can play defense and can't play offense. But I'm not saying no to it. I do think it's insanely overrated by Sixers fans. But the question, I guess, has to be, is he better than Eric Gordon? That's all you got to do with the Sixers when you're looking at potential signings and potential trades. Is he better than what's coming off the bench for the Sixers right now? Reggie Jackson, Eric Gordon, Reggie Gordon. I don't know. I feel like they're the same player. Yes. And as a buyout. What the 76ers need to do desperately at the trade deadline, whatever way they can do it, and I haven't looked into potentials yet or specific players or worked any trades or looked at any potential trades yet, because I don't want to talk about trades for a month and a half straight until the deadline. But they need a backup point guard and another 3-and-D wing off the bench to pair with Yabusele. And I don't know if that's trading KJ Martin, but to pair with Yabusele, a good backup point guard and another 3-and-D wing off the bench, and add a creative scorer like Lonnie Walker also, and have Nick Nurse stagger those guys with Andre Drummond and everybody else. And I think that's what they need to do moving forward. I definitely think that Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry being the first two players off of your bench is a death sentence realistically in the NBA. That's flat out not good enough to win anything this season. That's my opinion. Give me your opinion on everything. Thanks for hanging out with me today. We'll be live tonight at 10 p.m. for Sixers versus Portland Trailblazers. And I don't know if there's going to be a post-game live after the game. The 1 a.m. post-game lives are difficult because I just don't feel like my brain's really working that well. And I'm up there trying to talk about the game, and I didn't even really remember what happened and stuff. So I might save the post-game lives for next day, like noontime lives, so that I feel like I'm giving like the best version of myself and the show and everything. I don't feel like I'm good at these 1 a.m. post games, and I don't think it's putting out a good product. But anyway, tune in no matter what time we're here. And thank you guys for joining me today. And I will talk to you very soon. Sicko Nation, I'm out of here.